Okay, so in the previous session we have seen how to generate a DB context successfully, and also we have seen talk about a little bit on how to use the using namespaces, and I shared a link. I'm not finding the Microsoft site, but the site which I shared, it's a useful. Just go through that. So, and even we created a controller, patient information controller, and this controller we generated by using a template which uses entity framework and also read write actions. So this controller, if you see, so the code whatever you are writing, it will be very minimal. If you can use this controller as it is. So it is directly using the controller. It is directly using the entity framework DB context and fetching the data. So this is fetching data for a specific patient, and this is updating a patient, and this is uh, creating a new patient information, and this is deleting a patient information, and this is private boolean. This is checking whether a patient is available or not. So this is kind of AI the Visual Studio is using by using the templates. But we are not going to use this as it is. We need to have this logic in the services. So let's do that. So create a new service here, add new item, I patient information. So I patient information. So this I patient information, make it public. So if it is internal, you can access only within the namespace. So if it is public, you can access outside the namespace. So keep that internal and see. So here I am going to have 4 methods. So first one, so what kind of 4 methods we have? So the first method is retrieving all patients, right? Retrieving retrieving a specific patient, creating 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 a patient, updating a patient, updating a patient, then deleting a patient, right? So these are all the methods. So in interface, you cannot specify public also. So if I try to specify public, what is the method name you want to give? What kind of enumerable? So it's patient information, right? Patient information, uh, get patient information. Okay, so copy this, get 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 a patient information. So int id. So create a patient information. So what you want to return, whether you want to return a inserted patient or you want to simply say boolean. So this is post or create a patient. CREATE, create patient information, or simply you can say patient also. So this will take patient information as a parameter. Okay, so this will take patient information as a parameter. So this is update patient information. This is delete patient information. Delete patient information. So for deleting, you need an ID. ID or patient ID, whatever you want. So here, yeah, these are the 5 methods. Okay, so just build this. Is it? Yeah. So now create the service, add new item, patient information, service. If you want, you can make it service. This is also make it patient information, rename it service. So come here, patient information service, remove all of this stuff. I'll keep it here. Okay, so patient information service is going to patient information service, patient information service. So it will throw an error immediately. Just show potential fixes, implement interface. So again, this is a kind of IE. Okay, so this patient information service will have a so it's very simple. Go to your controller. So whatever code you have here, so this read only patient information. Yesterday we have seen this code. It's working, right? So even in the program.cs, did we make any changes? Yeah, we didn't make any changes to the program.service. Only this change we made. We are injecting the service here. Okay, so I'll cut this from here and I'll put it in the. So this is declaring the context object which you are using it in insurance management context. Keep it small. Okay, so then get this one. So naming convention also, it is very important. So insurance equal to context. Okay, so then remove this code from here. We don't need it. We don't need this at all. So cut this from here And if you see, this is async await. I'll talk about it in a bit. So this is a get method. So even you can make this async. So okay, so what we're going to do, all these methods are async methods. The return type task TRI async and new async model can only be used with methods that have a body. Okay, yeah, async task bool. Okay, so this one you're going to replace this. What it is saying? Okay, so this is returning. Oh, this is not a. This is IEnumerable. No, we are putting it in a wrong. Where is the get one? This. Okay, async task get information. Yeah, this is perfect. I'll talk about the async and the other stuff. So this is get a specific patient, right? Copy this and put it get a patient. So again make this async and task so replace this with context. So not found, return null. Yeah, so you can directly return null. So this ID, replace it with this one. Okay, so this is get a specific whitish patient information return why this is IEnumerable. It's a single patient, right? So we don't need this IEnumerable. It's a single patient. Yeah, so we need to make changes to the uh, interface also. So where is our patient information post? So this is patient information post. Copy this and put it here. Where is the post create information, right? So this is so replace the context, and here you can comment out this return true. So if everything goes well, it will return true. So then delete patient information. Delete patient information. So where is this delete method? Create delete patient information. So async and task. So patient information, what is the context here? This is the context. Replace the ID. So patient information return null if you don't find patient information. Okay, return false. So if you find a patient, you're going to delete it and you're going to save it. return true. We will refine that based on different actions. So this is it's a private method. I think we don't need it. Okay, this is update. Copy this entire patient information. Where is update? This is the update. Okay, so context, replace the context. Okay, so patient information ID. So this is taking two parameters. Where is the update? This is taking ID and patient information. So we don't need this ID here. Directly we are sending the patient information. So we don't need this ID. So avoid insurance. Okay, this one you make it async and task. Okay, if the patient information exists, so this one I'll comment it out. Return true. Okay, even we can remove this also. The try catch, you can keep the try catch. Okay, so go here because you don't need to add async, but you have to add the task here. So this task is a .NET Core method definition when you are using the asynchronous, when you are making the calls in a asynchronous way. So what is this asynchronous and synchronous? Do you remember the multi-threading concept in C#, C++, multi-threads? Okay, now all the issues got fixed. Does not implement interface member iPatient get patient information int. Okay, so here get patient information is a enumerable. Return this one, remove this one. I think now everything is, yeah. So first build this one. I'll explain the code one more time. Let me write it. Okay, if you come to interface, so there are same 5 methods, but now those 5 methods have been attributed with task. Earlier you don't have the task. Earlier you don't have public enumerable patient information and method name, but now I added task. So what is this task? So this task will specify this method is asynchronous method. So what is asynchronous method? So asynchronous methods are not new to .NET Core. You have in C++, you can call the methods in a asynchronous way by using a multi-threading concept. So what is that multi-threading concept? To maximize the CPU utilization. Our CPU is very powerful. So when CPU can do multitasking, so it can call multiple methods. So this asynchronous way of calling methods will allow you to maximize the CPU utilization. So as a person, you can do multiple tasks, right? You can eat and watch TV. You can write your program and listen to music. So the same thing, the program can do multiple tasks. So few tasks will be like you cannot perform in the same time. So where there is a dependency, suppose there are two methods you are calling, okay, and the second method is dependent on the first method return value. So in that case, you cannot call them parallelly. You have to call the first method first, and based on the return type, you have to call the second method. If those two methods are independent, they don't have any dependency, you can call them independently. So this task and asynchronous keyword will make the method asynchronous. So now I declared all the methods with task keyword. So in interface, it will not allow the async keyword. So where you are implementing in the implemented class, you can see you can use the async keyword. So when you are using the async keyword, you have to use await keyword. So this will throw an error, or at least it will throw some warning messages. So this async method lacks await operation and will run synchronously. So if you remove the await keyword, this method will run in a synchronous. That means there is no multi-threading concept. And if you use async await keyword, now it is very clean, and you can call these methods. So you can call all of these methods. All of these methods are async methods. All of these methods are async methods, and they have await keyword. So they have await keyword, and from outside, from the controller or from any other file, you can call all these methods asynchronously. That means you can call create patient information, you can call delete patient information, you can call get all patients information, you can get a specific patient information, and you can update a specific patient information exactly at same time. And all these five methods will execute parallelly. Okay. So when you are using async keyword, you have to use await keyword at least in one of the statement in the method. Otherwise, this will not make a asynchronous method. Any questions here? In .NET Core, by default, it will support asynchronous and await methods. So there is an interview question. So they'll ask what is asynchronous and what is await will do. So you are using async method, async keyword to the method declaration along with the task, and you will use await keyword within the method. So the task is like a void, or it will make the whole method as a um, whole method as sorry. Yeah, I'll do that. But have you are you uh, working on the interview questions, and did you find any answers? Then only it will be useful. If you find answers, we'll discuss them. Yeah, we'll discuss them one day. Either you can share your screen and discuss, or you can send it to me. So explain task, async, and await keywords. So what is TPL, task parallel library, in C#? So this TPL will make all these async await keywords. So there is a task await explain. So these three, so you can task async. Mhm. No, it's depending on depending on your experience and their requirements. So few people they'll ask right questions. Uh, so they someone will tell only theoretical questions. Yeah. No, no. Yeah, it depends on their requirement and the experience. Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's always suggestible to uh, prepare theoretically so that when they ask, uh, you should be ready. Yeah. Okay, I'll put it this link. I'll I'll put this link to the video, so where there is a good article. So always I suggest reading Microsoft articles because they will have the correct information and they'll have good simple examples. You can understand them and explain them. They are very simple. So this is a link. I'll put it in the video. You can have a look. Okay. So now check the contents of the method. And this we have already seen. So this is the private read only. So again there is a interview question. So difference between read only versus constant, read only versus constant versus static. So this is C sharp question, not .NET Core, C sharp, but yeah, you can use. So example read only. So I updated read only, okay, or I use the constant. So if I use constant, it will expect a value. So you can specify null value. And once you updated that value, it will not allow. So constant means it can only assigned when you declare it and you cannot change the value. You cannot change the value. Okay. Read only. Read only means it will not expect any assignment, but you can change it later and just try to make changes again. Insurance management context equal to new insurance management context. So then it will say a read only field cannot be assigned except a constructor. So when you are using a read only field, you can declare somewhere, but only in the constructor you can assign the value. So if you try to assign it somewhere else, it will throw an error. So that means a read only can be assigned value only once. So what is the other? Static is a uh, class level. So this is the interview question. Read only means you can declare the value, but assignment can happen only once, and that is in the constructor. Constant means you declare wherever you want, and at the same time it expects a assignment. And once you assign, you cannot change it later. So this is also important interview question. Okay. So and you are assigning that in the constructor. So then creating, how the creating works. Okay. So how the creating works. So context dot patient information. So this method is taking a patient information as an input parameter So when you are calling this method, you have to prepare the patient information. So what is this patient information? It's a entity. Go to this. So it expects a ID, name, date of birth, address ID, medical notes, mobile number, email address, and address object. Address object. You have to prepare this and pass it to this method. So wherever you are calling it, you have to prepare this and add it, send it here. So and so this patient information is a object, new object. So when you are inserting a patient, so this patient informations, it will refer the table in your database. Okay, and you are saying just add. So this is going to add a new patient. Suppose there are 10 patients in your database, and all the 10 patients will be coming to your application when the DB context have been created. Okay, and this add statement, whatever I highlighted, that's going to add the newly created patient information to the context object within the application. Okay, so the next statement, when you say save changes, okay, so right now in your database you have 10 patients and you are calling this method with a 11th patient. So the 11th patient at line number 15, that will be added to the list of 10 patients in your application. If you don't execute this statement in entity framework, this is never going back to database. So the 16 statement save changes, that will go to the database and again it will check the existing patients are 10, but now there is a new patient, there is a 11th patient. So the statement at line number 16, what it's going to do, okay, in database we have 10 patients, but in my context object I have 11 patients. So there is a new patient, I need to insert the new patient into the database, and then it will add the new patient into the database. Can you mute Arjuna? Someone? Yeah. So the 15 statement, now line number 15, it's going to add the patient to the DB context, but the 16th patient, it's going to add the patient into database. And if everything goes well, we are returning true. We'll work on this return statements later. So delete. So the same thing. I'm passing a ID of the student. Okay. So first, what it is going to do, await insurance context, DB context, patient information, find asynchronously. So this will find the particular patient. So if I'm passing patient ID 9, it's going to database and fetching patient ID 9. And if patient doesn't exist, it is going to return some value false, because if there is no patient in the database, it's not going to delete. But if it finds a patient, then what it's going to do, it's going to remove it from the DB context. So here it's finding, we are only passing ID. Okay. So here we are finding the patient record. Then we are saying to remove the patient record from the DB context. Again, this line number 30 will remove only patient from the DB context, not from the database. And when you say 31, it will go to the database and it finds, okay, at line number 30, they removed a patient with ID 9. So I need to remove this from the database. So this is going to remove the patient from the database. And again, I am returning true. If everything goes well, this will return true. Okay. So then get specific patient information. So the same statement, whatever we are doing here, that is also we are doing here. So you can make a private method to do this stuff, but that's okay. So patient information, it's going to find a specific patient based on the ID, and it's going to return the patient. So if it, so there is a possible null reference. Yeah. So if there is a, if the patient doesn't exist, this is going to return a null value. So even these are called what we call them warnings. If they are underlined with red, they are errors. If they are underlined with green, they are warnings. They are not showstoppers, but always they are some kind of small issues. So even resolving um, resolving warnings is good good for your application. So if there are no warnings means that is 100% clean. If there is warning means there are some changes still you can make to the application to fix it. Okay, so this is going to get all patients. So it's a straightforward return. It is going to get all the students records and convert that into list and send it back. So update patient information. So this is little tricky. So I'm sending a patient information object directly. So this will mark this object as a modified, and it's going to save the changes. So suppose the patient information has patient name as ABC, but they find there's a name change in the patient. Okay, so then they came up with the XYZ name. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to update the information in the object. Then I'm making that as an entry to the context, and I'm going to save the changes. So again, when you execute 56, it's going to save the changes into the database, and I'm going to return the value. So any questions on this? If anybody wants to talk, they can unmute and talk. Okay, so if you don't have any questions, we are going to call them in the next session tomorrow from the controller, and we are going to test them. Okay, so please work on these. I cannot run. I Yeah, I cannot run the application because, but I can build the services. The business is building successfully. Okay, yeah. So tomorrow we'll see how to run this. So in this session, the highlights are task, await, and asynchronous keywords. So this one, and TPL library, and read only, constant, and static. So please focus on them. Um, they are important as interview point of view, and also programming. Okay, so in the next session we'll see how to call them and test them. We'll see in the next session.